Welcome to an episode that I call Thursday Thoughts, but it's Friday. So I am just going to be completely honest. And I did not get my episode up yesterday. And sometimes we just have to give ourselves grace. I am somebody who's very guilty of putting way too many things on my plate. And I am committed to getting 2 episodes out a week, one as an interview. I like to interview guests because I love meeting people and they have great stories to tell. But I also want to have an episode where I share my thoughts. And so I thought Thursdays would be a great day. But I have been helping my mentor with her program, and she released it this week. And I have been doing a lot of activity with her and her team. So this thing kind of went to the bottom of the priority list. And then last night, I was just exhausted. And I don't want to do an episode when I'm exhausted. I want to have a lot of energy. So mornings, I'm a morning person. I don't know about you, but I just have to get stuff done in the morning. So here I am. It's Friday, Friday, as they say. So one of the things when you have a podcast and when you have a business where you want to put out a lot of free content and you want to talk about things that inspire other people, sometimes you feel like you run out of things to say. Sometimes you think, have I said this before? What's something new? You always want to be interesting and have people listen to you and have what you say mean something and have it help them. And for me, I really want to inspire towards action, some kind of action. And so what I thought would be fun to do, especially for my Thursday Thoughts episode, as I was thinking yesterday, and I do try to, if I'm running out of ideas, and I tell my students this all the time, that you need to just be quiet. Meditating helps. Sitting with a journal helps. Putting music on. You just need to stop doing all the busy stuff. And if you're somebody like me who has a lot, just loves to take action and has a tendency to schedule herself, then it really takes some discipline to get quiet. And so yesterday, as I was thinking about a topic to share, I just was like, I need to get quiet. I need to sit back. I did a meditation and I just started thinking about what it is my audience needed to hear, what I had that was valuable, because for me, Thursday thoughts are more about what's coming up for me. What am I thinking about? What is it that I learned this week that I can share my knowledge in some way that will help people? And so as I was doing this quiet time thinking, I came up with a great idea. And see, the universe brings you what you need. The universe sends you exactly what you need if you just get quiet and listen. It's the inner self coming through. So after practicing and doing this for a year and a half, I know it really works. I am a student of my own teachings. One of the things that I did in my last workshop series is I love to do giveaways. And so one of the giveaways I decided to do was Oracle cards. And if you're not familiar with Oracle cards, I never knew what they were until, in the past year and a half. And I never really had my own set until probably about a year ago. Now I have 4 because I bought this 4th set, actually my 3rd and 4th set. I bought 4 giveaways. So I thought, well, the 2 that I have I'm not wild about. I mean, they work for me, but I just wanted something better for my giveaways. Something that was more broad and could, mine are real business focused, the ones that I had, the decks I had. And I wanted something that was general, that anybody could use, whether they had their own business or just could use them in life in general. Because everybody needs a set of Oracle cards that can help them get in touch with their intuition. So I did a little research and I found 2 decks that I liked that were worth buying and using. So I used the 2 and one was just amazing. One stood out, and I'll recommend it here on my podcast. But what I thought would be fun is to use the oracle cards to get in touch with my intuition on what my audience needs to hear. I'm going to use the universe and my cards to send me messages to help me know what to talk about for my random thoughts. So it's not just me trying to force something, it's me going inside and asking the universe for help. So that's what I'm going to do with these Thursday thoughts for the most part, unless there's something that really comes up that I don't need the cards for. But it was so interesting what I got yesterday, considering that I had been helping my mentor with rolling out her program, and the doors to her enrollment in her program were open for this past week. She had this pop-up Facebook group, and I did a lot of sharing of my story and how she's helped me and how her community of amazing souls have helped me grow as well. And so I pulled this card yesterday when I was thinking, okay, help me, Oracle deck, to come up with a topic for this week's podcast episode. And whatever the card said, I was going to go with. What the cards do is they help guide you. First of all, I'm going to tell you about the deck. So the deck is called Energy Oracle Cards, and they are by Sandra Ann Taylor. She does a lot of card decks, but this one I love the best. It's so well done, and the art on the cards is gorgeous. I'll share a link in the show notes in case you want to go order one yourself. If you've never used Oracle cards, there's a guidebook. It's a thick guidebook. And the guidebook not only helps you to interpret the card, so it's got an explanation for every single card. And also, if the card comes, if you turn it and it's upside down, then there's a different reading if it comes upside down, which is super interesting. But there's a whole introduction section on how you use cards. There are different card layouts. You can pull one or you can pull several, and how you read them is in a particular order, and they mean something. Like you can pull three and it means past, present, and future. But just what I want to share of the intent of cards is this: they are designed to indicate our present energy as well as future possibilities. Since we know that the universe exists in a constant state of flow or flux, we must realize that all readings, whether with cards or through psychics, reveal the energetic potential of things. Therefore, it is very liberating to know that as we shift our consciousness, we can also shift the events that come our way. For this reason, we can use these cards not only for predictive purposes, but also, and perhaps more importantly, as tools for significant change, both within ourselves and in the outer experiences that reflect our inner energy. So there's a lot more to read about what the power of these cards are, but I just wanted to give you an idea that these cards are an expression of energy, and they are sending us a message. They're sending us a message, and we have intuition. We have intuition inside of us, but sometimes we aren't operating on it. And I've talked in the past on episodes about how my whole life, I just let my ego drive me. I let the things that were my external reasons for doing things, like, oh, I was going to make more money, or my parents would be proud, or this is going to be safer. And I wouldn't listen to my intuition, even if my gut was saying it was making me feel out of sorts or uncomfortable in a way that it wasn't making me as happy. It wasn't making me as alive in the choices I made. In fact, I talk about how the older I got and the more advanced I got in my career, the more unhappy and unfulfilled I got. But that was because I was not in touch with my intuition. I was not listening to it. I was suppressing every gut thing that I felt. And so cards are a way to help you get in touch with that gut feeling, with that inner knowing. So when a card comes up and you read it, there's a reason it came up. When you look at it and read it and you think about it, something from within you is going to tell you what you need to know. And so it's really crazy. I love these cards. And sometimes when I pull one, I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? And then I think on it and then I'm like, oh, yes, that becomes very clear now. Okay. So things that you might not be wanting to deal with, for example, and you think it's, for example, something you've been working on, maybe a personal growth area you've been working on, and you pull a card and it's telling you this is still something that needs work. So I love these cards because they really help me. They help guide me. That's what it's like, a spiritual guide in cards. So I pulled the card community, and I do these on video, so I'm holding the card up, but these are beautiful, beautiful cards. And I pulled it right side up. But what was so interesting in the reading of the card, so then you take your guidebook and you turn, there's a number on the card. This one was number 7. So I go to number 7 to see what number 7 says. The card shows 3 women celebrating sharing ideas and supportive energy. The lights in the picture represent your ever-present spirit community as well. If this card appears upright, it indicates an association of some kind. It may be a casual connection of like-minded people joining a club or community of some sort, or even a business partnership consisting of 3 or more entities. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but when I pulled that, I was like, how crazy is that? How crazy is that I just had finished working with this amazing group of people. Yesterday was the last day, and I pulled that card. It was funny because I had been on a call earlier that day, a live call in the Facebook community, where she was sharing the transformations of her students who had been in her program. And there were 3 of us. It said 3 or more, 3 of us like-minded women on this Facebook Live. And so I pulled that and I thought, this is a Thursday thought, is how important a like-minded community is, and how life-changing these like-minded communities that I've found virtually on the internet, what they've done for me in personal growth, what they've done for me in business growth. I wouldn't have this podcast if it weren't for these like-minded communities of amazing people that I can learn from and get support from. So I thought community was such an interesting topic, because I now am bringing communities together through my second half Spark School. We're in about, I think, week 4, we just started. And what I love is the connections that they've made with each other and the support that I see that they're giving to each other. And so the intuitive hit that I got from pulling this card is the community I've been a part of through my mentor, and the community that I'm building through my 90-day program. It's been incredible. And I think if you don't have that kind of like-minded community, you need to seek it out. You need to seek out a community, because in these days of COVID and having to be quarantined, like, I don't feel alone. I have this virtual community. I was talking to somebody yesterday about being an extrovert, and she's kind of feeling a little trapped because she likes the human contact, the in-person contact. And I'm an extrovert too, but I'm getting plenty of contact through my meetings, my virtual Zooms, and through my interviews that I'm doing on the podcast. So I would just say that we need community. That's one of the factors for longevity. It's having social contact and having this community around you, because what is life really if you don't have a sense of people who love you and you're connected to? The other thing that I think is very important about a like-minded community is that they say that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I would prefer to spend time with high achievers, with smart people, with difference makers, with world changers, You know, I heard somebody say this once, it's best to be the dumbest person in the room because you're going to learn the most, right? So you don't want to drag everybody down. And oftentimes we think we're dumber than everybody else, but we're really not. It's just our own limiting beliefs about ourselves. And that's one of the reasons I loved working at AOL. And I think I worked there as long as I did and felt so privileged to work there, is because I was around some super intelligent, smart people. And I loved being a part of changing the world, changing the internet. So that was really a great thing. Kept me going, probably in a job that I would not like normally, but it gave me that sense of community and being amongst people that were like-minded and that just helped me grow. So the card about community is the reason that I chose this topic. And I hope that the action you take out of listening to this episode is that you find, if you don't have one, a community that will help you grow and will keep you accountable to the dreams that you have, so you'll go after them, that believes in you more than you believe in yourself, and that will never let you settle for being small, for a community that will hold space for the rock star that's inside of you that perhaps you're suppressing and you're not letting come out. So I hope this episode has given you something to think about, and I will continue pulling cards for topics as I go forward and sharing with you what card I've pulled and what intuitive hit it gave me. All right. All right. So long. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraveragegrandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own Not Your Average life.